just an oddball guy, along with his beautiful wife and crazy friends, trying to better the world through the art of conversation. Turn up your sound and welcome Progress Not Perfection with your host, John Clay. Progress Not Perfection with your host,
We're good to go? So, you are at Progress Not Perfection Studio. I am with the owners of Soulstrong Yoga Studio and the manager. We have Julie, Seppi, and Maddie. Yeah. So, we're going to talk about the benefits of yoga, Soulstrong Yoga Studio, and its history, along with their history, and how we all came to interact with yoga. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm not accidentally playing footsies with Seppi.
You're just waking me up.
No. Okay. So, yeah, why don't we go through it? We'll talk about the history of, let's talk about y'all's history with yoga.
We're talking about our first yoga experience?
Let's talk about our first time.
You go. Oh, I go. I love sharing these kind of stories. Yeah, probably in high school. I was gonna say early 90s. VHS tape. I was doing yoga at home with a VHS tape. So really cool. Yeah, I think it was a different experience. It definitely, I was like trying to get a workout, and yoga was not as popular back then as it is now, like known. But yeah, I loved yoga. It's come in and out of my life as a workout. It's like something to do with my other workout routines. And then in my 30s, I had a lot of stuff happen in my life and emotional things. And this was a place where I kind of found myself and found my strength and built my spirit back up. So yoga became something more than just like a workout. For me, it became a place for me to like grow. Yeah.
On your mat, right?
On the mat and in life, everywhere. Yeah.
Me? Okay.
Yes.
She loves the talk. That's why I went first.
I know, first yoga, my mom took me to a church. It was probably the second time I went to church. Because the first time was a funeral, it was sad. Second time was a yoga class. Yin or yang. So then I went, and it was very, can I say whatever?
Yeah.
Very unfiltered, whatever.
Yeah.
So, we're all listening? Okay. So, yeah, it was very difficult because the lady in front of me at the church, it was the 90s.
Yeah.
And she was older, so like more power to you, but she had like leopard print, kind of naughty underwear on. And it was like sticking out the back of her pants.
That was in back then.
It was
like
in.
not showing back then.
Very, very happy for her, but
So wait.
it was very distracting. So I don't think I understood the spiritual side of yoga until much later.
Like now you're left with
She probably just couldn't focus. She was just watching.
Well, and then the other memory of that class was obviously, I wasn't raised Christian, as you can tell from the previous church comments. But we said like prayer at the beginning and end, which today I actually totally respect because I love that yoga is not affiliated with anything. It's its own separate, practice of mindfulness and all of these wonderful things, and anybody can do it. It's not restricted to any spiritual belief. But so in that practice, they did say Christian prayers at the beginning and end, and then also. The teacher kind of got mad at me towards the end because we were doing Paschimottanasana, forward fold, and I was nowhere near my feet with my hands, and the teacher was like, "You're too young to not be able to touch your toes." It was really a delightful time.
So like she had an Ashtanga.
So it was very bizarre, but I went back, but not to that class.
She gave it another try.
I gave it another try, but really I was most influenced, and so was my mom, by my grandfather's ex-girlfriend, who I remained close to until her passing, which was in her 90s, and she did yoga until the end of her life. And she really got me into yoga, like hardcore, because I realized she was just like the most wonderful person to be around. And a lot of it was obviously just her, but yoga was like this perfect pairing of just like an outrageously funny, wonderful person, but also who could really breathe through all of the hard times. And I just wanted to be her. I still want to be her. So, and her name is Irma. So she's like one of definitely most influential people in my life, and that is like I dedicate everything to her with my yoga practice. She's pretty phenomenal. One day I called her, I was like on the way to work, I was really stressed, and in my 20s I was like, what are you doing? What are you up to today? She's like, oh, I'm just listening to a cassette. It's just telling me to breathe in love and breathe out hate. And I was like, okay, I can do that. Cool. And I still do that to this day from her. Yeah, she's amazing. So, short story long. My intro to yoga.
Okay. So my first experience with yoga was actually in a theater class in high school. One of our people, like I was a freshman, I think is somebody who's a senior or maybe a junior, I don't know. They seemed like way older to me back then. And they decided like we needed yoga in theater because theater wasn't weird enough. And now, then they also made us do like partner poses and stuff, which just with a lot of hormonal teenagers is just not a good idea. Just don't do that in future.
Awkward.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Just resulted in a ton of awkward situations. And then I started going to Lifetime. And that was back when, you know, the teacher would do the entire class with you. I'm relatively certain.
They don't do that anymore.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
No, it was, now they've got like their own brand of like Lifetime Yoga, and you get Lifetime Yoga certified and everything. Life Power
For
Yoga.
Lifetime?
Yeah. It's its own thing. There
Interesting.
you go. And after that, I was like, I don't know about their system. I recently started, like I kind of got off the Lifetime train because they go really fast, and it's just a bit much for me. I'm like an old lady with yoga. I'm like, can we just slow down, children? Can we just calm down?
You went from like bullet train yoga to the thing in Looney Tunes where they're just like cranking. It's like the human run. Yeah.
That's me. Like all the Lifetime students are like this, and I'm just like in the back, like I'll get there eventually. And then afterwards, I was like hair falling out in college, and I was not in a great place. And so I started going to yoga to de-stress and to have something other than my grades be like something I could look forward to and something I could work on. And then like 6 months later, I decided to do teacher training. And then I did teacher training, and then went to San Antonio, moved back to work here.
Wow.
I know, these amazing ladies.
We're lucky to be connected with you.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You talk, your
My
first.
turn? Yeah.
Mhm.
My first time. Yeah. So my first time was in a drug rehab program. You know, it was just a group of us, small group, probably like 5-10 people depending on the day, and they were coming to teach yoga and meditation, and it really helped because at that time when you're trying to recover, your head's all over the place. Like you cannot focus, you're super depressed, full of anxiety. I was extremely suicidal at that time too, as well. Just I felt like I had lost everything. I mean, I had literally everything that I had during that time just went downhill. I'd lost my place, lost my car, had to move back in with my parents, and so it was very stressful for me, and it was a good de-stressor. So it kind of helped center me somewhat to where I could get on my feet, and I lost touch with it, and then I had my experience with Lifetime as well, and I thought they were fine. I don't necessarily know if it was too fast for me or not.
Hardcore though.
Yeah.
Not the dance asana.
Yes, I totally get.
She's a gentle, like, let me enjoy my.
Like I like to torture myself. What can I say? So,
You like to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
same
For
thing.
sure.
Torture challenge. But and then we just quit going to Lifetime, so I didn't have that available to me. Also, the times that were available just didn't really match my schedule as well, so that was another reason we had left. And I wanted to focus on other things, and I'd gotten really into martial arts and lifting heavy weights, but at the same time, it's not necessarily good to be doing all that and stressing your body out while having to drive around because of doing home health therapy.
Yeah,
I was driving 3 to 4 hours a day, going to see patients, and so I'm like, everything's getting tight. My psoas got tight, my pecs got tight, my neck muscles were tight, so everything was just all closed up and very forward oriented, and I wasn't doing the things to open myself up and de-stress my body, and I was knotted like crazy, just because the tissues in themselves were restricted. And so I knew I needed to make some changes just because I'd been in so much pain for so long. I was like, enough is enough. And so, as I was explaining earlier, I found floating, acupuncture, and of course yoga. And I really, I cannot say how much I think everybody I feel needs a little yoga in their life. I mean, just a few hours a week will make all the difference as far as your overall health, between the mobility aspect of it, going from your flexibility and your balance, and then learning how to open that tissue up so that your lymphatic system is flowing correctly, your cardiovascular system is flowing correctly. A lot of people suffer from sciatica, which just is a generalized term for nerve pain going through the legs, and a lot of people suffer from that, and a lot of that time is just because of restricted tissue. It starts pinching on the nerves, and then you find these people with chronic pain all the time. It's a sharp shooting.
Sitting in their posture, finding that strength
and so being with my experience in physical therapy, I feel like yoga provides a good maintenance tool. I really consider it actually two parts of what I consider the 5 elements of foundation to health, and that being making sure you're drinking your water, you're eating the right foods, and that you're getting plenty of sleep. And then you'd look at mobility and breath, and yoga encompasses mobility and breath. You get a 2-for-1 special just right there.
Right.
And so when I look at that, I'm like, man, you just need it in your life, no matter whether you're just trying to live a day-to-day life and function, or you're trying to be an athlete. There's no way that you cannot benefit from it. So
Right.
That's my experience in regards to it.
feeling the benefits.
Feel a lot better. Like I was saying earlier, I dealt with pain for a few years that didn't go away, and now I'm like, yay, I'm not in pain anymore, because it was constantly there.
Why did I have lower back pain for? I mean, I've done massage for 17 years. I'm hunching over people all the time.
Yeah.
I'm I can get my arms up all the way, I can breathe. But I had low back pain from carrying tables all the time, and it's just my hips tight, my low back was tight. Now I'm I can lay in pigeon and breathe into that.
Right. Works out well.
It does.
So why don't we go into the history of Soulstrong, how the two of y'all got connected and
how we got connected?
Well, I mean, that's kind of the full history of it, right? Because we wouldn't have Soulstrong if it wasn't for the two of y'all.
In the beginning.
It's a rainy day, a rainy, cloudy day.
Was that the day?
No, I don't think so. I don't even know.
So dramatic.
I think Stones and Croft was on in the background. I don't know. Just a guess.
Our grandfathers were friends in Iran. And so our fathers were friends because her grandfather used to bring her father there to hang out. My dad's the youngest of 8, so they would all hang out in the country. They own lots of land, play out there, have fun. Her father moved to the States to go to school. Then my dad came, and then they just stayed best friends, I guess. And so now I've noticed
pretty inseparable. They
used to celebrate their birthdays together.
Yep.
Aww.
They're just brothers. You know what I mean? They're more like family, kind of.
Yeah. Recently, her dad was telling us about them riding donkeys together when they were 6. Just out and do whatever they want.
As you do.
As you do, riding the donkeys together. And I was no, our dads when they were kids.
Yeah.
And I was trying to imagine, even my 11-year-old just sitting him out on a donkey,
So,
Both.
so
We
both
were
your,
like really goofy. Our dads were like funny.
Real goofy.
Yeah.
so both your grandparents were friends,
Correct.
and then both your fathers became friends.
Yeah.
Correct.
And because her father moved to Texas to go to school, that's why my dad chose to come here for school.
Okay.
So then, they got married and stayed. And
They both married like
They didn't marry each other.
Total
my mom's like from East Texas, Louisiana, like blonde hair, blue-eyed, 5'10".
Okay.
It's very German.
So and my mom's like blue. Well,
Blonde hair,
I don't
blue
know.
hair.
We don't know about the blonde hair. She's blonde.
This is on fire. She's a blonde.
Like,
She's
sorry,
a
Mom.
blonde.
I'm always apologizing to my mom. She's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then so I don't even know how to make any.
I don't know. We
stories
just leave
succinct,
each other
but
forever. We're like family, like
yeah.
cousins. Like she went off to, gosh, where'd you go? Stanford, then China, and then Portland, and I was in Vegas. So, and it's like family. You call your mom
Very
tells you
similar
like how
lifestyles.
everybody's doing, and then eventually I moved back to Texas, and then suddenly she was moving back to Texas
Yeah,
or Hawaii. She was trying to choose.
I was deciding between Hawaii and Texas. Obviously,
Very similar options.
very similar.
Good schools,
Obviously
though,
chose
good schools.
Pflugerville over Maui.
She really wanted Maui.
Obvious choice. And then
Her husband was wearing Hawaiian shirts like every time I saw them when they were trying to look for houses. Just kept wearing Hawaiian shirts.
Manifest.
He was like, Pflugerville.
But the real reason is so
Schools
we
are good.
the schools are great for the kids, but honestly it's like so crazy. I was in bed for several years with a rare neuromuscular disease, and wasn't getting good health care in Portland. That I've just sought a lot of, I don't know, crummy neurologists. So then I just did some research, and I knew that I couldn't get the healthcare I needed either in Maui. So we moved to Austin, where the diseases that I have, myasthenia gravis, the community is really great here, and I got hooked up with a rad neurologist. And while I was in bed, really used the mindful aspects of yoga to help so much, and just part of my whole disorder is breathing as well. So I think the yogic breathing has probably, quite honestly, saved my life. And then when transitioning from like just being in bed to more movement, using yin yoga and that in between phase, and then yoga truly restored my balance. So many amazing things. But so I was having this whole like health crisis experience, moved to Austin. Sepide and I are hanging out all the time. I was driving to Austin to do yoga, to spend time with her, and was obviously much more mobile. I was under the care of this neurologist, all these things, and we were just doing yoga all the time, and we were like, maybe we should just have a yoga studio. I was
So she
like,
decided, let's open a yoga
you only
studio.
live once, because I knew at that point I had seen and lived with the reality of maybe not being mobile again. And so after going through that experience and all these, things, and not knowing what was going to happen with my health and my life, and I was like, dude, just do whatever the hell you want to do. Like, if there's anything I've learned from this, it's like, appreciate the people you are with and love them as much as you possibly can, and just be so grateful for them, and that's all that matters. And then number 2, professionally, do whatever the hell you want, because you really got one shot. Yeah. Well, I got 2. I don't know. I'm a cat. Maybe I'll get 7 more. I don't know. So I came back from the dead, and then Sepide was
after she got diagnosed, she was just like, she had a new, view of life. Like, she's like, I never thought she's like, I didn't think I was going to get out of bed. I didn't think I was going to have a life again. And she's like, yoga really helped me. She was going to go back to school. She was going to do this. And she's like, let's just open a yoga studio. And I remember when it was real, like, we signed papers, like, she was like, I don't know, be like crying. I was so happy. It was like it was just a realization, like, she really did come from back and be able to do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
It's
so
weird when
cool
you think you're going to
gambled on
die if you
yourself
don't.
like that, especially under the circumstances of what you're having to deal with your health, to take that kind of gamble and be like, F it, I'm gonna make it happen for myself. And I mean, you look great, so it's like amazing to see that it's been able to do that for yourself, not only on a personal level but on like a professional level, because Soulstrong definitely is succeeding right now.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
It's really crazy. We were like looking at her, she goes, is this where you thought this was gonna be? We're like, we're only like a year and a half in, and I was like, I know, everybody asked us, like, you took a gamble. I was like, I don't know, I just said yes and we just did it. I don't know what happened.
And the
We're
reality
like,
is we have Maddie.
Yeah, thank you, Maddie. But Maddie's like really helpful. Thank you so much. Because
Genius.
After the first year, we're just like, we need help. And if we're going to make this grow and survive, we need to like figure things out.
We have Maddie and we have just the most ridiculous student population.
Yes.
I love our community.
Such a great
I love our
angels,
yoga
like
students.
legit angels.
They
Our
are,
teachers
and
are
they're always so
amazing.
willing to pitch in. Everyone's all like, "Oh, I can do this. Would that be helpful?" And it's like, "Oh, yes, yes, it would."
And I just feel like lots of people have become friends of the studio.
Mhm.
And like, I just love, I don't know, I love the feel there. I love our teachers a lot. We've got a lot of great teachers, a lot of different personalities. You can find something to fit for everyone. So
I hope it's okay to say this, but one of our students, Shagufta, she's also a life coach, a life coach, and soon to be yoga teacher. She's
Shout out.
pretty fabulous. Shagufta, I love her so much, and she's just said so many times to me, she's like, Julie, you gotta remember like attracts like, and I feel like that is like the total truth with Soulstrong. I think we came into it with really good intentions. We wanted to bring yoga, just high quality yoga for whoever wanted it. And we purely like just went into the business with our hearts on our sleeves, even though everyone tells you not to. People told us it was a terrible idea for two friends to open a business together. All the things. And
I was like,
all the things all your friends tell you, don't go into business together. And we did it anyway, and we just like tried to fill it with so much love from the beginning. And I think that has just helped us. And every person that's walked in has just added to that love in so many new and amazing ways. And it's just, I think Shagufta's totally got it right. Like attracts like, and we just. One of our other teachers, Jackie, always says we're like the purple unicorn business, because it's like we'll talk about other stuff and be like, oh, this is happening at this place and this, but for some reason it's not happening at Soulstrong. So we've been really fortunate.
I'll say this much from my experience with y'all. Y'all took a gamble on me at the year and allowing me to do the teacher training, because y'all kind of knew of me just from the past few months. But
we know, you could feel how much you're like
knew.
so
Yeah.
excited and
Yeah.
you're like pumped and you're like dedicated.
Right.
Like, yeah.
That's why like y'all were willing to work with me in my circumstances as I've been struggling the past few months, just because of my industry kind of having a downward spiral, and because of that, y'all coming here and working with me on this and everything, I can't even thank y'all enough to just really say how grateful I truly am for running into y'all. I mean, that was, just blind luck. Like, hey, I'm going to go check out this yoga studio. And, going to classes and everything, having conversations with y'all, and having these conversations where y'all could pick up on what I was trying to do and were willing to, like I said, take that chance on me to help me out. And, that's why anytime y'all ask for anything, I'm like, okay, cool. And so
I know, you're like always.
that's why when y'all think about it, that's why you get the love y'all give, because y'all are pouring it out into the community left and right. Like every time I turn around, I'm seeing someone that y'all have affected positively. And like you said, it's only been a year and a half. I can only imagine what this is going to look like in just a few more years from now, because no matter what storm that we may face, like we're going through these circumstances right now.
Yeah.
The
We're all in
primary,
it together.
that's the thing, is it's community. Y'all have literally created a community, and it is so beautiful to, you walk into Soulstrong and it's like love radiates out of that. And so that's like, I just love it. I've never gone in there and like, man, I wasn't feeling that today. Like, I've never had that experience. So, and I'm sure there's so many other people that I've noticed that feel the same way that I do.
Yeah.
And that's what, to me, that's the epitome of what we need to be looking at as a society, is like, let's spread it, get rid of the negativity, let's stop worrying about ourselves and let's worry about how we can help one another grow.
We're uplifting each other.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, massage and with yoga, like intention, like I was always taught, intention's 90% of it. Like what your intention is and to help and doing things is going to affect be more of an effect than like if I talk the class that isn't that great. My intention's good and everything that it's like you want to be there to give and help and I don't know, just uplift everyone.
And what's up with our teachers? Like we can't seem to. I don't know. Like every person we hire, it's like I'm just like, this is the best yoga teacher I've ever seen in my life. They're all like, and I don't mean to say anything bad about Round Rock. Round Rock deserves the best. But I'm also kind of like, we're not like Manhattan. Like, why are our teachers so good?
We do have a couple from New York.
We do have a couple from New York. But I'm like, it is like ridiculously amazing how high quality the yoga is that's happening at Soulstrong, and we're just this like little studio in downtown Round Rock. So it just kind of cracks me up, even making these yoga videos, because we've been doing yoga for really, we said like since the 90s. It's been quite a while. I'm very familiar with lots of super famous yoga teachers and been to lots of classes. So I feel like I have a decent place to speak from. And then recording these videos of our teachers this week, we have a new online platform that's come out, and I'm just watching them thinking like, if they wanted to,
They be internet sensations.
they could be totally famous. Like I was recording with my tiki iPhone, and I'm like, this person could actually be like a famous yoga teacher if she wanted. And I told one of our teachers that I was like, if you wanted to quit your day job at Dell and just record yoga videos, I think you would totally make it and then some. Like you could be a big deal. So it's just kind of amazing how the teachers have been absolutely phenomenal to work with. We've just been like cheering each other on, and I don't know, man, it's just a freaking amazing community all around.
The teachers definitely bring smiles to everyone.
Speaking
Yeah.
of the teachers, I mean, we can pull them up and show some of the people from our
Show
website
this.
if you're interested in it, and we can also talk about some of the different types of yoga that are out there that y'all offer as well.
Yeah, we're revising
Which
our
is-
teacher bios as we speak, so I don't know if they're uploaded right now.
With the teachers.
Yeah, but if you go to the top and then like the studio, yeah,
I do love that we offer different styles. of
Teachers?
yoga.
yeah. So these are our,
Oh, good.
we're actually we're revising this
We
right
met
now.
again.
because
You go, girl.
Picture,
It's
actually.
an awesome photo.
I feel like
Awesome.
That is a very.
I need like a
I
little
think
photo.
really just
Who's this
personality.
guy?
D.
That's a great photo.
No, D does good stuff.
So you've met these people already.
Oh, Clara.
And we've added some really fantastic new teachers. Even our guest teachers, our subs, are like ridiculously amazing. So like Mindy and who else is subbing? I feel like so many of our subs now have permanent classes. Who else subs for us besides
Who
Mindy
subs?
right now? Everybody else has permanent.
Everyone got a class now.
Um,
Who's Weeks is on there, who's
there's-
amazing and zen and
It was.
So great.
Did her name start with an M? She's the one with the Reiki certification.
Oh, Kristen.
Kristen.
Yeah.
Maybe the last name.
Yeah, totally. And then Maddie Sears as well subbing.
Yes.
yeah.
And so we're updating this page right now, and we're actually gonna just put.
I feel like we
At the
hired a lot of
beginning-
teachers this past
Yeah, we
year.
really have. In the beginning, we were like, wouldn't it be nice to do this? It's like theme song of your life, favorite yogi pose. But we thought, okay, we're growing up. We've been in this business for over a year now, so we're gonna add just regular bios.
What are these emojis that have jokes in?
Well,
There's emojis.
Hey, I think that's a good little. Your top 3 emojis. That's perfect.
Bam! That explains everything about who I am.
Why are you like,
Was one of them the money bags one? That is not my emoji.
okay. Also,
It's because it's not the same on the phone as it was on her computer.
There
So I was
might
like,
have
that's
been
not my
some
emoji. That's not my emoji.
did we really put a money bag for you?
No, Maddie. Money
I just really love the message that's sending to
I'm gonna go
us.
back and edit that today and put just like 3 devils.
She does like it hard, so.
Just the fire emoji.
Yeah.
Higher.
So we have pretty freaking phenomenal teachers, and one of the things that we kind of decided as a business was just to showcase the talent of our teachers. So like our business has really grown organically, meaning we didn't say like some other studios, which I totally respect this too. I think you can come into it however you want. But some studios are like, here's your set flow. This is how we define a power flow. They'll even sometimes give you the sequence that you have to teach the same sequence, or they'll say very clearly, like, this is what we want. We want Sunsal B. We want this type of flow with this type of intensity and all of these things. And same with events, just very like standard events that they host. And so rather with Soulstrong, it was like
consistency.
Show us, they wanted like
it's a business model to have consistency for.
And they won't show the names of the teachers on the schedule. So essentially, you're just having this uniform experience regardless of who your teacher is. Soulstrong, we were more about the people. So we were like, dude, what do you want to teach? What do you love? You be your genuine self. How can we support you in that? And then same with events. Like,
I love our events.
What do you want? What's like your dream event? And then just like working with teachers to make those events possible. And
that's where they shine.
Yeah.
Like have so much love and energy to give into that, and have all the information and knowledge like they can share, and it's pretty awesome.
I personally love the fact that there's no like set thing in there, because I'm like, every time I come in, yay, surprise.
Yeah, well, everyone has their own style, and I like specific teachers for different, you go to different classes because they want a different thing sometimes, you know what I mean? I don't want to have the same class all the time.
We were talking about how much you like a Nikki class, and so that's like,
woo, okay!
But then
They're
also she has,
challenging.
room to be creative with herself,
For sure.
and then you
And
kind
she
of
needs
know
it, too.
what you're getting. You know what you're getting though with like a Nikki class or
Yeah.
like a Mora class or something like that.
you're getting Nikki and you're getting Mara.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
which is
Like,
like
that's-
what you
what we're
want.
putting on you,
Yeah.
you're getting like
You're
their
getting
flow, their
their
energy with
their
their
energy, and like you're saying, intention.
Yeah.
You go and their intention, their energy. You're like, whatever kind of flow we do, I'm getting that intention, and that's what
Yeah.
really matters.
No, one of my favorite things, speaking of Nikki, shout out Nikki, you were awesome. If you still listen, love your class. Yeah, like I love how she just gets crazy and wild with it, but she's gonna tell you where you're gonna go. Like right at the beginning, she's like, okay, we're gonna get crazy. This is how crazy we're gonna get, and I'm gonna show you there. And then she does really good at just setting it up, making sure you're hitting everything prepared, and so you're prepared when you get to that crazy pose, and you're like, oh Jesus, can I do this? Can I do this? Am I limber enough? Am I balanced enough? But you've already like worked what you needed to work prior to it, and so you like, oh, I'm successful at it now. And that, that is so empowering for someone to be like, oh, I did this thing and I didn't think I could do it.
Trying new things.
Yeah, it's like, it is so awesome to be in that position.
Giving you the space to try instead of just being like, well, I don't know. She's like, we're all gonna do it.
We're gonna do it. Yeah.
Well, we all have variations, but we're gonna make it happen.
She should do like a sequencing workshop for yoga teachers. 'Cause
I do think
it's so strategic.
Yeah.
How so if, for instance,
It's real beautiful.
the end of the last posture is like flying lizard. She'll have perfectly planned all of the postures you need to do to warm up to that point. And it's just like a science with her sequencing. It's really beautiful.
She also does some where she's like, I love this whole shoot. Like, does the same pose on the ground first, and then you'll build, and you're like laying on the floor doing the same pose, and then you're up standing doing that pose.
Yeah.
So you know how your body feels in that place.
You've generated the flexibility to achieve that, and then like now we're gonna challenge the balance component of it. Once we get into that standing position, and like I said, I cannot praise her enough. Like I am absolutely amazed by those classes, and I leave there in that hot yoga class, and my mat looks like a river.
She loves heated classes.
I always feel Nikki's classes for a few days. It's like that kind of like I didn't know I had that muscle in my hip kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Like a new place hurts that I never knew.
I teach
In
in
a
a
good
store,
way, but
and one of our students came and he's like, I had Nikki on Monday, and then she subbed on Tuesday. He's like, so I'm really happy about restored it. I was like, yeah, you worked it.
Want to talk about your locations?
Oh yeah.
oh, for sure. So
Oh,
we're
yeah.
located. We have two studios. One is 309 West Main. These are both in downtown Round Rock. So we are near all the exciting happenings of downtown Round Rock, all the good food. And then Soulstrong Sanctuary is on the east side of Main Street, which is next to that big, beautiful white mansion. And Sanctuary right now is really like the heart and soul of the teacher training program. We're running 3 teacher training programs, and I think we're just gonna freaking bawl our eyes out when those 3 groups graduate. It's been such a joy and honor to be with them. And we also offer a couple specialty classes at the sanctuary location, such as family yoga, toddler yoga, restore and yoga nidra, and then yoga for runners, which that teacher Alyssa is just,
She's awesome.
so good. So
She does the
Really
beginner
cool
series,
classes
which
there.
is held there too. And that's a 4-week program. That's really awesome.
Mhm.
Really break it down, talk about it, show you how to modify it so that you can take any class and know how you can modify it.
Well, and so talking about the sanctuary, I think, one of the things that Julie I know is excited about is the fact of like, once that road gets finished.
We're waiting, construction.
And how
We're waiting.
accessible that will be for people with disabilities, handicaps.
like me, yeah. So
This is first floor.
it's
Yeah.
first floor. We're gonna have accessible parking. So if you're using a mobility device, it'll be super easy to get in. Even the big, we have a ramp and all that. We're ADA. It's an ADA accessible facility, but we'll have 2 big garage doors, and hopefully we'll be having lots of adaptive yoga there. So we are just waiting and praying for that road to get done.
It's gonna happen.
It is.
I've seen it.
It
looks
has
like
to.
It's really almost
It
done.
It has to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just rained a lot this year. I think it slows down construction a little
Yeah,
bit.
for sure.
And then
Yeah.
holidays, and then more rain.
Yeah.
That's what's in the forecast.
It's really interesting. My myasthenia gravis peeps on Facebook. I'm on all these like Facebook groups. They're all asking when I'm gonna start doing some MG yoga videos. I'm like, I need to get my
That is
act
one of my
together.
goals, though.
Yeah, because
Hey,
the adaptive yoga videos. There are some really great ones, and then there's some.
Really
When I
depressing
was
ones.
in bed, like I felt like it made me want to just die. I was like, this is not. It was just this sad music and.
Mm.
You'll have
It's
someone
not
that will
looking good.
record you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. I was like, I feel terrible after that. I don't know.
It wasn't
It's a little
uplifting.
depressing.
What?
She watched these videos when she was bedridden, and she would watch these videos, and they weren't very uplifting.
I would try to look for
They were
like
somber.
yoga in bed videos, and they
Mm.
were just extremely sad. I was like, this is
Why
not.
would you want to make somebody sad in that situation?
You know what I ended up doing? I ended up YouTubing like how to do the robot and like doing that stuff in bed because I was like, I'd rather just like look
Like the
at
dance?
this. Yeah, like do the robot dance.
Okay.
I was like, I'd way rather do this in bed. So I was like, can't you get like the same vibe of like the cool hip hop kid teaching you how to do the robot and like in bed yoga?
I
Because
would
we're
say yes.
people too. Like
Yeah.
you don't have to remind us that we're suffering. Like, so I always kind of wanted to do like have a good time yoga, doing yoga when you're in
That's
bed
such a great idea.
one day.
And I
It's
think-
on her.
I think honestly though, the way you're saying it too, like the mindset, like you said,
Mhm.
you already know that you've been dealing with suffering. Like
Yeah.
you don't need to be reminded of it. Like in fact, you need, like you
You
said,
already
you
know.
yeah,
Yeah,
like,
right.
come on, like get your act together, people. Like,
Don't make it a sad thing.
Well, I mean, because
Yeah.
what was it in Jessica's class? We were talking about it earlier. That the body's going to follow where the mind leads. So if you're sitting there just
That's
constantly
all.
thinking like these stress thoughts, and you're being
Mhm.
reminded of how like you're depressing your situation is, it's hard to get out of that. It's just like, oh yeah, I'm stuck here. Thank you for reminding me that I'm
Yeah.
there. Instead of being like, you know what, you can do
Being
it.
the positive.
Being empowered. It's such a big difference in just those little things, like the intention of the perspective you're providing that person, so that they can better themselves. Because
Mhm.
I've seen it so many times just in my field, being in physical therapy, where people are injured. When people are sick and they're injured, they're depressed, and that's why I really wanted to create this podcast for people to realize that no matter whatever your struggle is, that you can get out of it. Like you can work. Yes, you're in this position now, but that's not something
not
you have to stay.
permanent.
Yeah, you don't have to stay there, because so many people, I feel like they feel stuck in this rut of life, and it's so disheartening to watch people just being like, oh, I can't get out of it. I can't get out of it, and they have excuse after excuse after excuse to why they can't, and it's like you kind of need to like shove it in their face. Get up. get moving, and your body, your mind and body are connected. So you can't be necessarily depressed if you're up doing active and uplifting things, and so it helps change your mind. And then you start reversing the cycle, right? Where we have this, it's a constant cycle that we go through of, okay, my situation's bad, okay, it's going to stay bad. Situation's bad, it's going to stay bad. Where if you're like, okay, I can improve, okay, well, now this is improving, okay, well, now I can improve from here. And you have to break these cycles that end up putting you in these positions where you're depressed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what it is, though. It's a cycle of perspective, of pain and hurt, and one leads to the other. Because like if you're in pain and you're hurting, then you're going to be depressed. And if you're depressed, well, I mean, one of the things that's shown is like, okay, if you're depressed, your body's going to be more likely to be in pain. I mean, I'm trying to think of it. There's actually a syndrome that I treat all the time, fibromyalgia. People don't like to talk about this, but when you look at fibromyalgia, there's no cause, but it's highly correlated with PTSD and depression. Like that's the cause right there in itself. People will generate pain in their body because of this pain and depression this depression that they have in their mind, this trauma that they have here will materialize within the body. And so you notice okay, well, as I start to change that cycle, as I start to get my head out of this and I start doing the things, and you can't disassociate the two. You have to realize mind and body are connected. Like you put them together and you start taking the actions. Is it easy? No, it's never easy to break a cycle. It is hard. I think all of us here can relate to their own cycle of struggle that they've had to break to where they can overcome and start improving their circumstance. It's just a matter of, am I willing to take that first initial action to make it happen? And then at that point, you can start doing the things that need to happen to where you're like, oh, my life is going to improve. I don't have to live like crud anymore. So, I mean, that's my little spiel.
I can't remember if I told your yoga teacher training group, but one of my favorite quotes from Iyengar is about that yoga can cure what it can cure, and then what it cannot cure, it helps you endure. And so regardless of if, like, you broke your leg and that's why you're in pain, or it's chronic pain, or you're feeling pain for whatever reason, whatever the reason is, like movement of the body, all of these things are going to definitely help you over the long run. But sometimes we can't cure everything with yoga. Like, we can't cure the loss of a loved one. Like, we can't bring that person back. Or if you're dealing with a chronic disease like I am, maybe one day, and so far it has not cured my neuromuscular disease, but it helps me endure that. And so I think that's what's really helped. Like, obviously it has helped me to walk again. Like, big pieces like that, yes, it has cured those pieces of my life, but there's still some remnants of my disease that I deal with daily, or whatever else, anxiety, depression, all those things. And yoga, man, it helps me endure for sure.
Finding that place to calm, relax, lower your cortisol levels, help your adrenal glands relax, all those things that cause, just help you center yourself, I think, is a lot. Because some things you can't change, and you gotta be able to work with it and deal with it,
One of my biggest pet peeves is people like, I tell people all the time, you should exercise, and this is why. Well, I'm not going to live forever. I'm like, well, that's great. I don't want you to live forever. I do want
but you want to live happily. Right?
Yes, you never heard that before from anybody? Oh, man.
People can live happy on tacos and tequila, just saying.
You can live happy on tequila, but don't you want to feel good?
Yeah. Taco yoga. I think there's
Taco yoga? I'm sold.
We have more. We have Sunday special.
Tequila yoga.
Yoga and then beer, it goes really well together.
Taco yoga. I feel like this is a new avenue.
I'm liking it.
I mean, after you work out, that's when it's time to eat, right? Feed your body with your nutrients.
You should copyright it.
Done. Taco yoga.
I'll work on the design.
But you gotta have it on a Tuesday.
I could, yeah.
Actually, this is a very good
Alright.
I'm into it.
Yeah, sold.
Do we need a taco trailer?
Yes! great idea.
We'll just have a
Let's
taco.
go.
We could do like
Or-
we could do the outline of we could do a taco with like a person doing wheel.
Oh!
There it is.
Okay, Taco Tuesday yoga with a taco trailer.
Got it.
Truck. I'm done. That
Yeah.
way. So
I'll put it
down.
It's like making it happen.
That's such a good summer event.
Got this going, yeah. I
Yeah.
love it.
He needs the tequila there too. just
Yeah.
I have a
Enjoy
shirt.
the
I
margarita.
actually made a shirt for myself that says I do it for the tacos and tequila.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll show it to you later. Yeah.
I do it
it's
for
on-
dessert. I'm like, that's why I work out.
Oh, I like salty.
Everybody's
I'm
covered.
not a sweet. I like sweets. I mean, she did buy
I just
me
like to
amazing
eat.
sprinkles cupcakes today.
That's why I work
I
out.
did.
celebrating your birthday.
Oh, hey yo.
She was all like, "Are you slimming down?" And I was like, "I don't know. I still eat a ton." Like,
Apparently he's doing 3 workouts today, and he's like, "This is how many calories I burned." I'm like, "And that's how many I eat for the whole day."
So
Hey.
funny.
that's why I'm taking it easy. I couldn't even do like I was so done after Jessica's class today because Jessica was like, "I'm bringing it today," and I was like,
Yeah.
"Man, she challenged."
I heard the
me."
music go. I was like, "Are we being loud?"
Jessica hit, oh man, I did like a really sweet ab workout in her class a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh,
She working
nice.
hard. 9:30.
She can be real chill,
Yeah.
or she can be like,
It's
"We're gonna
true.
power it up."
Yeah, you have no idea. But today was like she was real creative with it. I was just like loving it. But I was like, usually, you know me, I come in on a Saturday and I'm like, okay, I got my 3 classes.
Yeah.
I trained martial arts before in the morning, and then after
Yeah.
just 1 class, I was like, no.
Yeah, he goes, "I know I signed up, but."
But I can't.
One of our students said the other day about Candace is, she said, she just, every week I come in and I spend time with Candace and she just so lovingly kicks my ass.
I would say that as well. She
Just
will.
like calmly, you're just breathing into it, and it's like, "We're really working, aren't we?"
Yeah. Like I'll be in high lunge and I'll be like, I'm dying, but she's so sweet about it that it's like it's gonna be okay.
Everything's okay.
It's hard to imagine you dying in a like yoga.
Oh, listen. I didn't do any sports like when I was younger. I was a theater kid.
You're so good at it though.
Having slightly more open hips than normal is like that's genetics even. My hamstrings like immediately they just are like half splits and we do not get along.
Oh really? You get tight in half splits?
Me and half splits. I used to be like legitimately angry in that pose. Like we'd go into half splits and my brain would just be like, time to be mad. And then, because that's apparently where I carry all my emotional baggage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so until I was just like, just breathe. I was always just like, I cannot wait to get out of this pose. I'm gonna die. And it's like, just breathe. And now I'm slightly less angry.
Slightly less angry. I like that.
That's what's so crazy about yoga practice, because we talk about this a lot in yoga teacher training, but it sounds ridiculous. But okay, so for you it's half splits, for everyone's going to be different. Like a lot of people talk about chair pose, like really making the match.
Chair.
But if you get people to like at least breathe through it,
Yeah,
oh
or
my
laugh
gosh.
or
Yeah.
I do it.
If y'all wanna take a look at that.
Look at those arms.
Are these yours?
I
wish.
Those are my
They're
arms.
not my arms.
They look just like my arms. I feel like I should have signed a
looking
photo
in the
with
mirror.
this.
Okay.
Like the,
That's amazing. That's hilarious.
I've actually got so when I've worn that shirt like out and about, like people actually are like, oh, I love it, man. That's a great shirt.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
great
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's a good.
That's
so
one
good
reason I
to
love
say.
doing that is like I love being creative. I love designing things, and so
Yeah.
it's like okay, I have this idea. Like I have a whole binder of like ideas for shirts that we're working on
Julie's got a
design.
notebook.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, like it's hidden away. Like I went and hid it away back in my little
Okay.
drawer over there. But yeah,
Put it in a vault.
no, everything
It's
important.
true.
Unfortunately, everything important's in this room.
Now everyone knows.
Like all my little secrets are hidden away.
That's good.
In here.
And this is your
It's amazing room.
Yeah.
But yeah, but with like the chair pose idea and stuff, what's interesting is it's like this, you are putting people into uncomfortable positions in a yoga class, having them breathe through it, be the observer in their body, learn all of these strategies in hopes that when they leave your class, they're able to apply those same strategies to like real life situations.
Yeah.
Typically traffic, right? Like traffic. But then in reality, we have people who are first responders that come to our yoga studio. We have people with really high pressure jobs and also parents, everything you can imagine. And so our hope is like, oh, maybe in that little chair pose, the strategies that I helped them learn and practice, they're then using in the real world. And it seems ridiculous, but it works.
No.
Is that?
I just remind people, I'm like, we're sitting in a chair. It's our favorite pose. Let's smile. And I'm like, oh, okay. And they all smile. Like, and exhale, fold.
I want to say it was you that was like, we in the yoga teacher training class was
And
one
they all
that
smile.
was
Like,
like, I
and
hate chair pose, and then like we were doing a flow afterwards, and whoever was leading the flow did like probably like
I was like, chair's gonna happen.
10 chair poses like back to back.
I was like, I love chairs.
And then it was so funny because she was talking about the previous weekend before. It was the second weekend, and so the first weekend she's talking about how she doesn't like, or she was talking about, like I didn't like the chair poses from last time, and then we were all joking.
I think she did okay the next one though, didn't she? Julie used to kill people with chair, FYI. I was like, it's a chair day.
Rude.
So,
a lot of chair.
I don't think a lot of people realize this, but like, so with my personal training background, chair is actually like, it's an overhead squat, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually one of the things we assess for like a person's function, like how good, how strong their core development and leg development is.
It's like building up to it. They don't have to be the biggest.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
just build up.
but it's an we actually use chair as an assessment
Right.
exercise to see how they're doing, how well they are as their foundational posture. And so a lot of people don't realize that, but it really is such an important pose to be able to perform as far as like your health. Like it's just not thought of. Because you really have to think, you really have to engage your back, your legs, or your glutes are definitely being engaged, which to me,
you need to get the core so you're not hurting your back. Yeah.
Correct, and then you're doing that scapular depression down and back. I mean, those things are all so important for your overall health and making sure that you don't have an injury, either at your hip, your back, or your shoulders. And those
It's all engaged.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's an all-purpose exercise, and it is so important for you to be able to have it with good form.
Yeah.
People don't
I'm
think
just
about
remembering,
that.
I'm pretty sure we did like a figure 4 chair pose folding over. That was probably the day she was like, I really don't like chair pose.
Your yoga studios don't have to like you. The students don't have to like you. It's okay.
I think I just love the fact.
Oh gosh, no.
Whenever they hate something, and then I just go, I go, you know what? I love this pose because I need to work on this pose. Like changing that, and then I was like, and then after a while, like, you're really great at it.
Perspective.
I can sit in a pigeon. Do you know that I used to be up so high, like probably 2 blocks could fit there, everyone would be down, laying down, and I was just like, I'm right here. I'm right.
Yeah.
And now I can lay down. It's like a big deal.
I'm so glad I've never had that experience for me personally where I've been like, oh, I hate a pose. I've never.
It's hate because it's like everyone can do this, and I'm so intense, and I'm like, nobody feels this. It's like that. You're like, I have to find that place to breathe, and like maybe just finding enough lift or modification so that you can be in that variation.
Well, I think you teach it very well in the yoga teacher training, and that's what provided a lot of perspective to me. Is just back off. You doesn't.
Well, because
have,
everybody wants to. Like
Everybody else is.
And
That's
so
overrated.
drop your ego before you get on your mat. Like let that go,
and it's just
and accept
you.
where you are at for who you are at that moment, and nothing
That's
else
also
really
a thing.
matters.
I think also when I was younger and I'm like trying to do it now, I like it doesn't. I'm like wherever I am is where I am. Like some days I'm here, some days I'm there. But when I was I think when I was younger, I was like I need to be there. And now I'm like oh no.
But like I said, for me, I think y'all teach that so well in like the yoga teacher training, and I think it carries over into how y'all's instructors operate as well. As like y'all had talked about various instructors being like, oh, you're not here, you're not there, like kind of shaming you for not being able to achieve a position.
My first
And
yoga class.
And I've never seen that in y'all's studio. Like that's never been a thing I've experienced. I've never, not for me, or I've never seen an instructor talk to anybody else in that manner. Like it's always been like, okay, I can help you as far as like educating you on your position, but never just. Like,
we look for that in the demo and the audition.
Julie's like really good. I remember her one time saying like, I know maybe you can touch your toes, but like let's not right now. Let's back off and like bend your knees and feel it differently. You know what I mean? So you can feel that lengthening before just like
I'm
going
pretty sure
down.
I learned that from you. Yeah, you have done that. But especially like when you've done forward folds and told everyone to grab blocks, even if they typically don't use blocks, for grounding. And we've talked a little bit about anxiety, but sometimes even in the asana, the yoga practice, the physical yoga practice, we might even do poses and work that is around grounding and reducing anxiety levels, and never explicitly state that to students.
Yeah.
They have like no idea, that, oh, the reason I'm doing this, like this forward fold where you're really feeling rooted to the earth, even through your hands touching these blocks, breathing deeply, feeling supported in this pose, is really because we're trying to get your nervous system just calm and down. Mm-hmm.
Well, then it also provides, because like when you're in that position and you're struggling through it, I think people will be like, oh, I want to force myself into this position, but then the muscle you're trying to like stretch wants to tighten and so it becomes counterproductive.
It's like trying to protect you. It's like whoa.
Yeah.
And
so that's where it's like, when you realize like you're gonna benefit yourself so much more if you just back off and accept where you're at and use the assistance from the blocks or the straps.
Well, I think that's also an advanced thing. Using props is kind of an advanced practice, like learning like, oh, this is where my body is. Let me use this so I can like actually get into this pose correctly. Because people are like, oh, because they don't know how to use them. They don't know. You know what I mean? I do think it is. It's not like doing advanced poses, but it's like more advanced to like learn how to use everything, right? You know what I mean? To modify things so that you're actually getting the benefits from those poses instead of hurting yourself or forcing.
Yeah, Mallory, an instructor, loves to use blocks in her everyday practice, not just to
whole flow with blocks.
Just a whole flow with blocks.
It's a different feel.
It is
like even the vinyasa.
Down dog, doing vinyasa with blocks, and then in the end, it almost normalizes this idea of blocks, and then people who use them all the time don't feel like, oh, I'm the weird person using blocks. It's like everybody can use blocks. Everybody can find something out of this. And I thought that was really cool. And she loves to talk about like, I just use them all the time. And I think that anybody who comes to our class who maybe is new to yoga can just be like, oh, okay, well, I can use these. Yeah.
No, and the instructors in general there usually do a really great job of being like, okay, like use your blocks, and if someone's struggling, like you just come up with like bring like here.
Blocks for you.
Well, I'm like, they hit the ground. I'm like, this is gonna help.
We should get a silver tray.
Well, and that's where like I really think it needs to be understood by pretty much anybody that comes in is like, you don't need to look at anybody else. Let that ego go before you get there.
Well, in the beginning, they're kind of looking because they don't know where they're going.
Right.
But like focusing on themselves.
Yeah, learning to look instead of like, okay, I need to look and see what they're doing. Learn to listen to what your body can do and accept where you're at that moment.
I think that's a practice, though. I think like after a while, I remember in the beginning when we saw so many people for the first month, and then you saw them like 3-4 months in, you're like, oh my gosh, their practice is like grown, changed, the strength, like how they feel. It's just like they're listening. They're like, you know what I mean? It's like really amazing to watch people like really grow and listen.
Did you, when you first started at Soulstrong, did you know? I don't know if Lifetime, do they have mirrors? Did you notice we didn't have mirrors?
Yeah, I noticed. For me though, personally, I like mirrors. Okay. That's just a personal preference of mine. Just for the simple fact is, I love that visual perspective of being able to acknowledge. Now I do notice, I know a lot of people that they feel uncomfortable looking at themselves.
Yeah, also maybe trying to make themselves into some shape that they actually can't do. You know what I mean? Sometimes people forcing themselves. Also.
Trying to look a certain way rather than feel it.
Well, yoga is also about learning, what is it, proprioception? Like where your body is in space. You learn a lot.
Proprioception, yeah.
Haha.
Appropriation.
It sounded good to me.
I don't know what you said, but
But like yoga's really big on that because you really do start to learn where your body is in space, and instead of just looking all the time, you're trying to feel it and notice it and take it. And I think that's a big one, which is really good, especially when you get older and.
Yeah, it was something we really went back and forth on in the beginning before opening, and because there's both sides and both are legitimate. Like especially like beginners, telling them to like feel a warrior two in their body, and it gets really challenging. It is that alone is like an advanced practice in a sense, like not having mirrors.
Yeah.
So, but we did end up not having mirrors. One reason was because
There's a million windows.
And also there's a terrible news story came out about a very well-known yoga chain, in Shavasana, a mirror fell on someone because it was heated yoga and the glue, whatever, it all got heated. So we were just like, okay, that feels
My favorite yoga studio is in Austin doesn't have any mirrors either.
I think it's more applicable to have like a mirror, especially for like me on a training perspective where it's a one-on-one setting. I feel like that's really good for someone to be able to like, okay, you can instruct someone through that, but in a yoga class, that's not really applicable. It's not gonna happen in that way, and so just allowing people to, focus on the internally what's going on.
Candlelight's my favorite.
Just move inwards, and then really talk about with people in the space about really like what's going on inside, like giving them, because I think, and you talked about this too, but with pain, with any type, and even just knowing your body and body sensation, we are all so trained to go through the day and feel nothing, like just to be numb to our body, not listen to the cues that it's giving us, and that's how we get injured in all of these ways, because we're not listening to like pain is there's a reason, we're not listening. So just to give them like an hour out of their life where they are just listening to their body. Checking in for real. Yeah. So that was, and so the mirror was kind of like one less thing to worry about.
No.
Give them a little bit more opportunity.
Julie doesn't want to get sued for real.
Yeah, for the mirror. That's
scary.
I was like, I'm never going anywhere with a mirror.
Ever again.
You go into a yoga, so you're like, exactly how are these mounted?
Are these glued to the wall?
Brackets?
Brackets. Inspecting the mirrors.
When were they installed? When were they last checked? You check these?
Don't worry, everything's attached to the walls at our place.
But talking about, like we talked earlier about challenging poses, I think when I really started to get into yoga, just being quiet, as you can tell I'm a talker, it was like being quiet.
Shavasana was the hardest pose.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we're done with yoga, let's go. And so just laying there with my thoughts, it was terrifying. I was like, I'm not having a good time right now. And when you don't like being with yourself, that's telling you something about yourself. So, go in there, figure out what's going on, and be happier being alone with yourself.
I'm going to say I've cried a lot at the end in Shavasana. A lot of things come up and you're like, I'm just going to let this go.
Good.
There's a lot of people that are that way, I found out, because
Because you're really opening, just letting, and I'm focused on myself, and you're like, whoa.
Well, like I said, I do floating. So floating, you're in that tank and you're all by yourself for an hour. And I mean, it's literally just you. And there's lack of sensation, just because you're sitting there floating and the water's heated to the temperature of our body. So it's literally to just be there with yourself for an hour. And I've been like, hey man, come floating. You can use one of my credits. Like, I'll take you and do it. Nope. Ain't interested. I'm done. And I'm like, really? Like, you're no interest at all in trying it? It's great. I mean, it's so good for you. And people are just not interested because they have to spend time with themselves. And
it's hard sometimes for people to just, like, quiet.
I'll go with you, John.
Aww.
I love you, Matt.
I don't know if you can take tacos into the floating tank, guys.
No.
I'm pretty sure I can have an airplane bottle of tequila with me.
Like, I'm just going to sneak this in back there.
The sock in there.
No, but
I do think that's a practice as well. Like, restorative is a really hard practice for people.
It is. Like, some people will come out and they'll be like, about it a bit, because
so true.
just like that exact face, they'll come out.
The audio podcast isn't picking up on the face here.
Well,
What is this Maddie face called?
It's a
it's a sassy frown.
It's a sassy frown.
sassy frown. All right. Not sassy, sassy frown.
Yes.
Do it again. Let's get it. We're watching. Okay. Is that how?
Or like,
There it is.
there
Okay.
it is. There we go. Much better. That was
But
nice.
it's a practice. I mean, just like meditation.
I think,
Just
but
like yoga.
you know, to me, that's something that's so important. Is just learning to be with yourself. Like, there are so many people that are afraid to be alone with
Yeah.
their
Well,
own
then people
thoughts.
put things away so they don't have to deal with it.
Exactly. And
I
then
mean,
when you're
I'm
alone,
really
all
good
those
at that
things
when
come
I'm
back up.
So,
Now I love being by myself. I'm like, oh God, can I get away from people? Like,
Maybe I'm just projecting. But a little kid. No, I'm just like alone in the car, so happy to be alone.
I love
in the
my
car.
daughter. No, my daughter. I've never been like, oh, I want to get rid of my daughter. Or maybe.
It's not that.
Not like
No.
that.
You have a lot of alone time.
You don't have a lot of alone time when you
That's
have kids. I don't know, but also I don't know what it's like because like I think sometimes mom stuff's different. Like it's like when
Oh,
I
yeah.
walk into the bathroim with you, like there's never
Yeah.
a quiet moment.
My poor mother. Just anytime anything's slightly inconvenient, I'm like, Mom, help.
It used to be that way. Now it's really interesting because like as I'm getting older, like I'm turning to my dad more.
Oh.
And my dad and I my dad used to be mad at me. So so my dad had my dad had got caught selling drugs as well back when I was actually like 1.
Okay.
And so he did everything in his power after he
get it right.
he'd gotten out of prison to make sure that I was going to be good, right? Like that. Like my dad went above and beyond. My dad is such a great dad. Like he really is amazing.
He just saw
But-
you going down. the
Yeah.
path. That's
Well,
right.
so he he had been in the military, and then the whole reason I turned to drugs and alcohol to begin with was when I was 13. My dad had been diagnosed with hepatitis C. And so by the time I was 15, it got really bad because hepatitis C, they would try to treat it with this medication called interferon.
Yeah.
And what that does is, it kills the hep C, but it also kills your liver in the process. So by the time I was 15 years old, it started getting really crazy where there were so many moments in my life where like we're going down to Seton, Maine, and the doctors are like, he's on unlimited morphine, you might want to say your goodbyes.
Oh my god.
And so this is me as a teenage boy having to deal with the stress of like all the time losing my father, and so that's why I turned to drugs and alcohol was to cope with these problems. And that's one reason like nowadays I'm trying to do everything I can to pay it forward to society because I
Yeah.
understand that people get stuck in these cycles, especially at a young age, and they don't know how to get out of them. And I feel like yoga is one of those
How to
things that could help people like get in tune with their thoughts, help break those cycles that are going on with them. But at 17, when I was 17, he finally got a liver transplant, right? But the damage was already done for me as far as like where I was going, because I was like a straight A student. I was going to like all these honor classes and everything.
Yeah.
Like I was great. My dad had done everything he could to set me up for success as an adult. And then, of course, I didn't know how to cope with him struggling with that. And so I felt like, looking at it now, he was so disappointed in himself that, he'd done so much to make sure I was on the right track. And then right there, kind of at the finish line of, my developmental years to where I would be a success as an adult, he had not succeeded. And because I had gone through this other path that he had not attended. And so like he was always loving and accepting. Like when I got busted, he allowed me to move back in with him, and they took care of me. But you could always tell there was this underlying aggravation from him of like he was not happy with who I turned out to be because that was not what he had wanted for me. And over the past few years, with with me finally graduating college and then the birth of my daughter and everything, him and I have really developed this bond I'm so grateful for him. And for me right now with physical therapy and the aspect that I work in it's really taken a downward spiral, and I've struggled financially, and I'm like the primary breadwinner of my family, and so I've been like struggling emotionally to deal with what's going on. And my dad has always been like, I'm here for you, call me. You know, if you're because I mean it's really been very depressing and very much an anxiety producing situation for me over the
Yeah,
past few months. That I mean, like, I'm done. And he's like, you can't stop. You're trying to do the right thing. Like, you want to help people.
Yeah.
Like, you have to maintain your composure. And if you feel like you're going to lose it, reach out to me because there are so many people counting on you to succeed.
Right.
And so my dad's been that foundation for me so much recently. And so I look at that and I'm like, wow, that's been my experience with him at this point in my life. And coming into my early 30s, I'm just now really starting to feel who I am as a person, like and accepting myself, because people will get so caught up like, oh, I'm a teenager, I'm in my 20s and I don't know what I'll do to life and everything like that. And for anybody watching this, and if you're in your teens or your early 20s, you don't know shit. Just accept that, and you won't. I just now feel like I'm starting to get it. I mean, it's the truth though of the matter. Like, you don't really start to get it I've just now recently started to feel like who I am, and I might not be the person who I see myself as now, but I understand I can put in the work, I can put in the effort, and I will make that person manifest itself. No one else sees it, but I see this in my head of where I'm trying to go with my life and what I'm trying to create. And that comes from that inner belief of even if you don't necessarily believe it all the time, hold on to it with all your heart, all your passion. Just even when you feel like it's slipping away from you, grab it and find people that are going to be willing to support you and redirect you back to that at any point that you're struggling with it. The right having the right people in your life, because I mean it's hard. People go through life and you're going to deal with struggles. You're going to have to learn how to endure things that suck, as you're talking about. And yoga has really been one of those things that it's like I feel like I'm losing my mind sometimes, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get on that mat and I'm going to put myself there, and I'm going to focus on my practice, and I know my practice is going to make me better. And in that return, it just like, okay, I've left my mat. Now I'm ready to go conquer the day. I'm ready. Yeah. I'm ready for the next day. I'm now centered again. I'm grounded to where I need to be. And learning to be with yourself. That shavasana. Because that's it. At the end of the day, if you can't be with yourself, do everything you can to learn it.
Yes.
Practice it. You don't have it today. You'll get there. I didn't. I was a hot mess. I was riddled with anxiety all the time. That's why I needed drugs and alcohol to cope with it, because I didn't like myself. I hated myself as a person. I was the fat, awkward kid, and I had to deal with my dad dying, and I didn't know how to just handle life. And I have learned over the past few years to learn to be alone with my thoughts and accept it and redirect them to being the positive person I can be today. And everybody needs to do that. Just practice. You fail, get back up, practice again. Do it. Sorry, I'll get on my soapbox rant sometimes with these things.
It's such a good point. I love the practice, because I think that was really the hardest thing. I mean, I remember my 20s, my therapist being like, you need to do more yoga, blah, blah, and I was like, I can't freaking lay down. I couldn't, just the quietness of yoga, I was like, I can't be alone with my head. So, but maybe you just do a 10-minute practice.
30 seconds.
I just had to find my way back into easing into it. And, for me, honestly, it was like swimming at that point, because swimming, under the water, and you're just like, and that beautiful sound around you. It almost like swimming, I think, because of the swimming, I could get back into the yoga. It took a little something to help me get back. But, those two, I'm so thankful for.
Do y'all know who David Goggins is?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so David Goggins, he is an ex-special forces guy. He does ultra marathon runs. I'm not sure if y'all know what ultra marathon is.
Yeah,
ultra marathon is anything over the standard 26 miles. And this guy, he talks about how he decided he used to be a pest control guy, and he decided he wanted to join the military. and they were like, well, you need to be able to run this much, you need to weigh this much, and he had like a 3-month deadline to where he had to be to achieve this goal, and where he had to drop like something like 120 pounds within 3 months. And he talks about how his intention was he was going to go run a few miles this one day, and he couldn't even run a full mile, and he was like, and he was miserable, and he was like, okay, well, what can I do? And he started biking. He got on a little stationary bike, and he biked for the first few days or however long it was, and then he built up enough endurance to where he's like, okay, I can start running now. And he started there. Like, your intention can be this, but you also can learn to accept that I am at this spot right now. This is where I'm at, and it might not be where I want to be, but you can understand that there's a process to develop yourself as a person, and just learning how to make those strategies. And he's a perfect example of it, and he's one of the reasons I made this shirt. And I've really because that's been one of my things, is I also had, like, as a young kid, I had learning disabilities, right? So my parents, like, when I was in kindergarten, were having to get me tutors because I couldn't pick up like simple spelling and writing, and when I was in kindergarten and first grade. So I've always struggled to learn new concepts, but at the same time, I just never stopped. And so that's why it's like I'm too stupid to stop because I don't know any better. Like, I've seen all these people that I knew were smarter than me, and they couldn't do anything with it because they never would be consistent to keep coming back and practice it. And I tell people, I'm not special. There's nothing special about me. I just happen to be consistent, and I'm willing to show up.
I always say the valedictorian wasn't the smartest person in school, was your hardest working person.
For sure.
They put all the effort.
The person to be consistent.
There,
And that means, like, that's all it is. People that are like willing to be like, okay, I'm willing to put some effort into my life. That is the key to it. Like, putting a little bit more effort into your life is the way to go. You're never going to get anywhere just being like, oh, I'm here and I've accepted it and that, Yeah, you can accept who you are today. That's cool. But also realize you can do more. There's always a little bit more in the gas tank if you're willing to try. And so that I look at it in that regard. No one should feel like they're any better than the other or any less than another person. Just be willing to put in some effort, and accept where you're at today, and you'll get better tomorrow. You put in the effort today, you'll be surprised. You'll be like, oh. And I think yoga is a perfect example of that because you can actually see it physically manifest. You're like, oh, I couldn't
tie myself into a pretzel, a year ago, and
now I can. Thank God.
But I mean, I think being able to visibly see that. Yeah.
No, you really do. But the other piece with yoga too is, like, you have these 45-minute, 60-minute studio classes. But yoga is so much more. There is, like, so much magic happening within the yoga practice that for a long time I wasn't even aware of it. Now I'm only, limitedly aware of it, but when you're in yoga teacher training, things like that, you really start taking a deeper dive into the philosophy of yoga. Self-discipline is one of the tenets of yoga. So, and that's what's difficult about really understanding the benefits of yoga on the mind and the heart, and then also the physical benefits. But that's why it's, like, so hard. You're not like, it's not that I just want you to do yoga 3 times a week. It's that I know that you have to have the consistency of the practice for it really to make these deep transformative changes within people. So that's always hard, especially when you start combining, like, business with such a pure practice. We've always tried to maintain that balance because we don't want to be like, I'm sorry, you need to have a unlimited membership so you can really have the benefits of yoga. It's not true. But we don't want people to feel like we're trying to say, like, come 3 times a week because, you need to keep the lights on. It's not that. It's that really, like, for the deep transformation to happen within yoga, you have to have consistency. But I think yoga also is one of those things, like, as for a business or for anything, it sells itself in a sense. Like, people will have those, we'll do, like, a challenge and they'll come more. and then they're like, holy
Feel the
crap, like
difference.
my whole life has changed. And they'll talk to us about all these like crazy transformations that have happened with tears and all these things, and then they're like, okay, cool, like I get it. So very different experience than like, oh, I dropped into a yoga class once and went back, 10 weeks later. You're just not going to have the same effect as like when you're on your mat a few times a week. Even just the changes of your mind, that alone is so big.
Another thing, so you're talking about the consistency, like, people will be like, oh, I don't like something, or I don't like this or that.
Yeah.
Well, the beauty of y'all is y'all offer so many varieties, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if one variety didn't work for you, go try and be willing to try another one.
Yeah, right.
Because you might
Or
find the
another
one.
studio. Like, don't
Yeah.
give up on yoga.
I'm always
Yeah.
like, try different teachers,
like,
try
please
different
don't give up on
classes,
yoga.
you'll find people that fit well with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because there's always an avenue.
People do one class and they're like, I'm done.
Yeah. People who we've talked about this before, like people who they just want to get the crap beaten out of them in a yoga class and all this. They don't want to do shavasana, like whatever.
Yeah.
We're like, well, then find some like hardcore crazy yoga studio for you. Like
Yeah.
you're going to get a solid workout at Soulstrong, all those things. But those people that want some crazy like
In and out.
108 temperature degree classroom, like don't give up on the practice. Like
Yeah,
yoga's a big
find
universe.
something for
Yeah,
you,
find
for
something for you.
sure.
That
We-
Bikram yoga.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we won't be offended. Just don't give up on the practice.
Yeah, if that works for you, that works for you.
Yeah.
Don't turn your nose up at people who like that, and then don't turn your nose up at people who like chair yoga.
Oh,
like,
yeah, they're
it-
all-
Or we just added Kundalini.
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Kundalini.
It's just a
Big
whole
shout
different
out to
practice.
Kundalini.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting take on yoga. I think that people, because when you look at all the different styles of like movement-based, asana-based yoga, they all can be somewhat similar, but then Kundalini feels like it's in like a whole nother realm, and it's good.
Yeah.
It's a good realm.
Good realm.
It's a good realm to be.
Yeah.
It's a good
Kundalini
realm.
is, I'm so excited.
I
think it's going to
know.
be extremely
It's gonna be really
addictive,
good.
and then people are going to want it all the time.
Kundalini is actually, after my first Kundalini class, was the first time I ever really like meditated and like had the best shavasana of my life. And I was
Nice.
like, whoa, I like let go. Like I didn't think, I just like it was like the first time. It was the best. That was a long time ago. I mean, I can do it now. I just didn't like.
Is
that
it
was a long
tomorrow
time
at
ago.
2:30? Is that right?
Tomorrow at 2:30.
You can go back tomorrow, Sunday, 2:30.
But yeah, I'll be there.
I'll be with her.
Yeah, that's right. You guys will have Kundalini at yoga teacher training though. Summer.
That's summer.
Yeah. Sorry. We'll get you guys a Kundalini.
We'll get you.
We'll hook you up with
No
Kundalini.
worries.
Don't worry.
Hook
Word.
you up.
Yeah.
Word. All right. Yeah.
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 I'm gonna discuss your contact info.
Oh.
People can reach you.
Yes.
Oh, there's Maddie's name.
Oh gosh.
Maddie
yes.
at SoulstrongYogaTX.com.
Give her.
Contact me.
Yeah.
Directly.
One thing people don't know too, because you're like me and you don't like calling, you can just text us 512-686.
One of three of us will be responding to you.
Somebody
Yes.
will. It goes to all of our phones.
Well,
But we're pretty 2020 over here, so you can just text us, go to our website, email us, all the things. Soulstrong Yoga, we have ridiculously good Google results. So if you don't pay attention to any of these things, you just remember Soulstrong Yoga.
You can Google
You
it.
will find us.
We're very
You type in yoga near me and you're in the Round Rock area. I'm gonna
It'll pop
right
up.
up.
We have worked very hard on our SEO. We
Yeah.
really geeked out over some stuff when we opened.
It shows because, like I said, when I went to go looking for yoga, that's how I found you. I typed in yoga near me.
Yeah.
And,
That's a lot of Julie work.
Yeah,
I mean,
Clara and
Yay,
Julie.
Clara.
There it is.
And just students giving us like free advice when we were broke and had no money, and they were like, "Yeah, I'll sit down. I'll tell you everything I know about Google SEO
So
for free."
sweet.
It's awesome.
That was really nice.
Yeah, people are awesome.
People wanted us to stay around. They didn't
Yeah.
like, you're gonna be okay, right? You're not
You're not
doing
going
They're so
okay."
used to little yoga studios closing, so everyone just was like rooting from us from day one.
It just starts
is
to
really
become,
nice.
because this is such a yoga saturated market.
Hmm.
There's so many yoga studios,
Yeah,
but you guys are special. Stay
for
special.
sure.
and we're hoping we're going to be opening one in South Austin.
Then Seppi won't be around anymore.
Everyone says this. I will still be here. Everyone's like, "Where are you now?" I'm like, "I'm here 5 days a week, I'm not gonna disappear.
She's gonna disappear. She's just
Until South Austin opens up.
No, I'm not gonna disappear. I'll be in both.
She's like, I got this.
How's your car? Can you still make it?
Only
No,
My
South
car,
Austin.
my car's a Toyota. I'm gonna hit 300,000 miles on
Oh
it.
my
Right?
God.
I'm at 260. I'm doing great. Everything's
Whoa.
awesome.
That's.
We gotta
Don't worry about
open
it.
a South one so you can afford to buy a car.
Alright.
She's like, I don't need to go into like all my finances on this.
Life of a small business owner.
It's a whole other podcast. Okay, that's a whole other podcast.
That is.
The
I
sh-
bet that is.
The struggles are real,
The
for sure.
struggles are real.
Oh man, this has been so fun. I'm so
Aw.
glad we got to do this together,
Thank
and
you for
on your
having us.
birthday too.
Well, it's actually early. Her birthday's not until Monday.
Oh, that's my bad.
No, it's her birthday week.
I said it's her birthday. I celebrate birthdays for her.
I didn't know. Someone just told
It's
me
her
it was her
birthday
birthday,
month.
so I accepted that.
Celebrate all
and
month.
She gets a week.
I know I got a cupcake out of it. I was excited.
Yeah. We had Sprinkles cupcakes. Our sponsor, Sprinkles. No.
Guys are so excited to tell you about our sponsor, Sprinkles Cupcakes.
Plug.
Maybe we'll send you something.
That's why I said Teresa, one of our teachers, recorded a yoga video today with me, and I was like, next time I can't be in the room because she talked so much about cupcakes.
Because
her
you got a cupcake.
Yeah, she got a cupcake, and I just was like laughing, and you know, audio like picks up everything, and I'm so freaking loud, so I was like, I can't be here anymore.
Rude.
She's so funny.
You're like, I'm just
She's
gonna
great.
set the camera down. The button's on. Let me know. We'll edit this afterwards when you need to turn it off.
She's so funny.
She was really funny.
Yeah.
We have a lot of good characters.
Thursday, 5:30, Teresa.
Thursday, 5:30. Go.
You can do it. No, I mean, I think everything y'all have planned right now, like like I said, I'm super excited to see what happens for y'all over the next few years, because
Thank you.
I think, and I'm looking forward to helping y'all in that process. Like, that's so cool. Like, we get to watch it grow, and then we get to do our thing.
Same to you.
Yeah, you're
Seriously,
doing so much
same to
stuff
you.
right now.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all. I mean, yeah. But I mean, that's what we were talking about earlier. People helping people. You know,
Mhm.
we just,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, and we can continue to do that. You know, there's, I mean, so many people even in the like the yoga teacher training class that I've talked to. I'm like, man, it'd be cool to talk with them. It'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Do it.
Do
'Cause
it.
There's
Talk to
so
them.
there's so
Yeah.
many people that like, I love this. I love sitting down and having conversations with people. I think it's so much fun. Like, just getting to know more. Like, I learned more about y'all today, sitting down having this conversation
Yeah.
in this long format, and that's what I think people need to know, especially for the people that are doing the right things, is like, hey, that's the reason I wanted to create this, is so that people can know who's trying to do the right thing to help their community and provide them an outlet to express that and show that, so that way the right things are going to better our community.
Mhm.
Because we have to work together if we're really going to make any kind of positive impact on this world. You can't just do it in a vacuum on your own.
Nope.
It's not gonna
No
happen.
way.
So, well, we've plugged that as far as the contact information. Anything else y'all want to talk about? Or are we
Anything else I heard
good?
Just come see us if you haven't.
Yeah. I recommend it. These ladies right here have really helped change my life for the better. I would recommend checking out their yoga studio, and if you don't like the first class you go to, check out another one. Find what works for you. Don't give up on yoga, and it won't give up on you.
It's true.
And yeah, everybody have a good day. Peace out.
Bye. Oh, we did two hands again. Like a kid.
What is Jazz?